Now I know what you're thinking. You gotta be shitting me. Reggie's talking about Zelda again. Now, I am a huge fan of the Era of the Wild series for The Legend of Zelda. I have made that quite obvious through multiple videos on the two games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. And I think I just wanted to kind of go through some like physical nerd books. Just for funsies, because I recently picked up Creating a Champion. It's a book I've known about for quite a while now, because it's kind of infamous for what it has done for the Zelda series, Breath of the Wild especially, and just the contents within are so like in depth behind the development history of Breath of the Wild, and it's very fun to kind of look through it and see leftover content stuff that they didn't include in the game. And now that Tears of the Kingdom is out, you can see kind of some ideas that were in this book and that they had throughout development that they later included in the game's sequel. But for the most part, Creating a Champion is mostly just an art book, which we'll be taking a look through. Not quite yet though, because there's a lot of stuff that I would just like to look through. I've skimmed through it a little bit, but I haven't really dove deep into it yet, and so I wanted to just do that. And I thought it would be fun to do a video about that because I'm super into this series. In fact, these two are my favorite games of all time, and so I think I could provide some insight or like little comments and stuff like that about the book. Now, the other two books I have here are purely from Tears of the Kingdom. Now, this is the collector's edition official guide. Now, I don't really need this. Guides have kind of become obsolete in recent gaming years because of the fact of, well, there's the internet. You can just kind of look up any knowledge about a game for free, so there isn't really a whole point of having a book about telling you how to beat things in the game. And for the most part, I haven't really had to use this book for any reason. In fact, I wouldn't even want to use this book on a first-time playthrough. Hell, I beat the game, and then I got the guidebook after, as if, like, this is supposed to be how to help you beat the game. But I haven't really used it for that. In fact, I've mostly been using it purely for 100% completion, which is just something I'm chipping away at because, like I've mentioned before, Tears of the Kingdom is one of, if not my favorite game of all time. And so I just think that would be a fun thing to do, is just sort of chip away every once in a while and kind of do some side quests, because I just love spending so much time in this iteration of Hyrule. And so this book is more of a fun novelty. In fact, it's very much to how I beat the original Legend of Zelda for NES, and that game is essentially unplayable by today's standards. It is just very cryptic and bizarre, and it just doesn't tell you what to do. But I actually found it to be very fun to follow a guide, and it was following a guide essentially the entire time I played the game, and it was very it was a unique experience that I haven't really had with any other kind of game, where it was basically like following a treasure map. Now, I wouldn't want that for any of the modern Zelda games, because I feel like they are far more intuitive than the original NES game is. And so I'm glad that they are not taking that kind of pay for a guide or follow a guide to win or beat the game at all. I think it's far more intuitive the way that they're doing it now here. And right here I have the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom art book that I have from the collector's edition of Tears of the Kingdom. Now, this is really cool. I just love seeing development history behind a title, just seeing like concept art, all that kind of stuff, especially about games that I love. And so this art book is, I would say, pretty good. I have a few complaints though, and we'll get into that once I start going through the Tears of the Kingdom art book. But I just wanted to kind of establish what we're going to be doing here in this video. And it's probably going to be a bit of a long one, mainly because we're basically just going to be covering these two. I just wanted to bring up this one because I actually picked these two up at the exact same time. And so I felt like, you know what, this should get a mention. And if you don't have this, it is very cool. I just love the texture on it, and it just feels so premium. And I just love having physical things of games that I like, especially books and stuff like that. That's just always been a cool thing to me. But we're not talking about this book here because there isn't a whole lot for me to say. It is a guidebook. It describes how to complete shrines. I would rather, figure out the puzzles myself. It tells you how to beat enemies. Again, a lot of that I would like to figure out myself through intuitive gameplay design, right? It's got maps and everything, but I do think it is great for 100% completion. And I do think that there are plenty of really cool tidbits in here. There's exact item locations, like stats, all of that. They have all the cooking recipes. All of that, I think, is stuff that if you are really into these games, they will add substantially to it. Like you can pick up pristine weapons in certain part of the depths, and it says their exact location. That is super cool, because even when I tried looking up that kind of stuff, the internet is like, before this book came out, it was a little confused on how the systems work, but because this is official, it knows exactly where everything is supposed to be. I also think things like amiibo drops, great. This is actually before the Zelda and Ganondorf amiibos, which actually aren't out yet at the time of this recording, but I have already pre-ordered those, so those will be here eventually, actually pretty soon. But monster stats, all tons of cool stuff like that, weaknesses, everything like that. Even stuff to say like the final boss of the game. If you didn't know, this video would feature spoilers. But even things like Ganondorf, I thought it was super interesting how his 3 different phases have different HP thresholds. That's not the weird part. The funny part is that none of them even get up to the King Gleeok or regular Gleeok's stat base, which is HP, which is 8,000. And I just thought that was super interesting that the final boss, one of his phases, isn't even the length of a King Gleeok, even though technically, because he has more phases, he has more health overall. But I just thought that was a interesting little tidbit. But I digress. We're not going to be talking about this book that much. We're done with it. All right. Now we're going to move on to probably the shorter, well, not even probably shorter. It is, in fact, much thinner than, say, the Creating a Champion book is. And I find that pretty sad. I wish there was, or maybe there will be. I'm hoping that Nintendo releases something similar to Creating a Champion, but for Tears of the Kingdom, because my number one complaint with this art book is not any of its content, but its lack of content. And not to say that it doesn't have plenty of content. It does. It is definitely the best part of the collector's edition, and they knew that. But there are a few gripes I have with it where, for example, none of the descriptions have been translated out of Japanese. That is weird. I have to now hold up my phone to do Google Translate to the art book in order to translate things. And they're typical, just like little notes, like, details for, like, let's say the boots that you get early on in the game for Tears of the Kingdom. It's just kind of like, I would like this to be laced, or it's not very important or descriptive, but like, you can see all this in Japanese. And as a American white boy who doesn't know Japanese, this is kind of like, I would really like to know what the developers are saying here. So that's a gripe I kind of have with it. And there's that. And the main fact is this art book is a blessing and both a curse at the same time, because when the game leaked weeks ahead, it was the collector's edition and this art book. In fact, the game leaked weeks ahead, but then the art book leaked, I think, months ahead. I'd have to look back on it, so I could be completely wrong about this. But the art book leaked really far ahead. In fact, I mentioned it in a Reggie H video that I had seen a few of the pages of the art book, which I'm now looking at again right now. But basically, the art book has a lot of content in it, but it doesn't have a lot of late game content, which I find odd. So, for example, Ganondorf has his regular. Let me find it here real quick. Okay. So, for example, this page here is focused on, obviously, Ganondorf, right? I mean, he doesn't have his hair, which is kind of odd, but, they're showing off the zombified model of Ganondorf, which I think is such a absolutely fantastic design. In fact, I was a little worried when playing the game that this design would be underutilized. It would only be in the beginning, and then he'd be like his regular Gerudo human form for the rest of the game. But I was not disappointed because there's Phantom Ganon, and he makes plenty of an appearance in this way. In fact, they balanced it out really well, which makes me very happy. But this is the only actual Ganondorf related, this is the only appearance of Ganondorf in this art book, and he doesn't have any of his red hair or anything like that, which is, again, fine, because this is T-posing Ganondorf over here, but not his Gerudo form at all. I would have been really interested to see different concepts for Ganondorf they had for this game, because Ganondorf's design is very different than his previous iterations in, say, Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker. They went in a very different direction, as they did with Link and Zelda as well. And so I just find it kind of odd that there isn't a whole lot of concept art in this game. In fact, not in this game. There isn't a whole lot of concept art in this art book. In fact, it's mostly art that just made it into the final game, which is definitely cool, but I would have liked to see elements of stuff that didn't make it at all, because literally everything in this art book is just in the game exactly as it's shown off here. Now, it's still very cool to see design details and all of that about these different structures, different environments, different clothing, just all of that stuff. I find it very odd that there isn't one much late game art, which is good because when the art book leaked, it didn't spoil anything, really. I mean, the only thing it spoiled was kind of it was just a bunch of images without any context behind it, which, is good because I was not spoiled story-wise, and a whole lot of other people weren't. In fact, the only thing we were spoiled about was the fact that, oh, look, there's a lot of content in this game that Nintendo isn't showing. But the thing is it's both a blessing and a curse at the same time, right? Because, I would have liked to see, Demon King Ganondorf form, Dragon Ganondorf, human Ganondorf. He has 4 different forms in this game, and there's only one of them that's in the art book. Same thing with Zelda. I think Zelda turns into a dragon in this game, right? And, well, I said spoiler, so if you didn't know, sounds like it's your problem. But, essentially, they only have the art of her. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. They only have the art of her, which is short hair, Breath of the Wild, her typical royal research clothing that she has from Breath of the Wild, just with the cape or whatever. But she has multiple different outfits as well. She has the traditional Zonai outfit that she wears. In fact, for a majority of the game, when she's back in time, and then you have the Phantom Zelda who's wearing the exact same outfit, and then you have Dragon. The Light Dragon, which is Zelda as well. I think it would have been really interesting to see different Dragon Zelda designs, because they didn't just come up with the one immediately, and so I think that would have been really cool to see that there. And I think that's one of the biggest disappointments with this art book is not the content that's in it, because I think the content that's in it is absolutely fantastic. I think it's the lack of specific content that's in it, because I really wish I love seeing the like here, but I would have and the different forms of and different versions of like that are in the game. But at the same time, I have seen these they're already in the game. I would have appreciated seeing different versions of like and different designs that didn't make it. Not to not to be like, oh man, I wish that version was in there, but it's really cool to see the thought process that goes into making these kind of once in a lifetime games. And so seeing what makes the cut, seeing what doesn't, I think is a really cool aspect of these games. You know, even slight things like different Keese eyeballs and how they changed them, and you know, the dungeon designs and all of that. Even like sometimes I think some of these are different outfits, but in fact I thought before Tears of the Kingdom was confirmed they're not developing DLC for it, I thought there were some outfits that were in this art book that would make it into the final game, but in fact I was looking at them incorrectly. But another good example of this is this Little Frogs here. This might be the only development, like the only not finalized version of anything in this book that is in the book, but it's not in the game. Because I have searched so long for one of these like redstone looking frogs, and they're just not in the game. They don't exist. So I was very confused why this is obviously a concept art and everything else seems to be like exactly put into the game this way. In fact, I think it was this outfit that I thought was Zonai's survey team outfit, because they look pretty similar. But when push comes to shove, I love this art book. I think it's absolutely fantastic overall. I think it has so much stuff. I love just seeing, like, I love Tears of the Kingdom, and so I'm gonna love this. I love seeing the environments in a different way, even though a lot of this is just kind of, you know, seeing stuff that's in the game in a different way. It's different than, say, the book that we're going to talk about in a minute, which is Creating a Champion, whereas it covers kind of a bunch of stuff that isn't in Breath of the Wild at all. And, you know, I love this kind of stuff where it has, like the Horriblins and, Horriblins. I love this kind of stuff where it has like the Horriblins, and it shows like how they were thinking about when designing the horns, what they would look like on top of the weapons, which I think is very funny, because I think some of them look like, this looks great. This looks great right here. I don't know what this is supposed to be. What is with this? This is kind of odd. And I think that, like, looking at the constructs here, like there's so much content in this art book. Even here with just like, this is just kind of Link's standard, his standard champions. Well, they changed it to champions leathers in this game, and just talking about like the different padding and stuff they wanted to put on him. And what's interesting is like this is one of the only instances in the game where Link doesn't have Rauru's Zonai arm on him, and it's just very cool that they have that like modeled out here. And I'm able to, like, this is one of the few only instances where he doesn't have the arm, and so I think that's pretty cool. Because all the promotional material shows off the arm, because the arm is, you know, integral to the mechanics of the game. But overall, I would say that this book is, like, this book is great. It's definitely the best part of the collector's edition, even though I have a few problems with it, and I wish there was a few more elements in it where it would be like, well, I wish I could, you know, see parts of late game stuff, like Minoru's design, even the sages, just like none of that is really in this. Like, key parts of the game that would be heavy spoiler territory are just not in the art book, like, at all. And I think that's just kind of odd, because I would have really appreciated to see stuff like that, because Creating a Champion over here does not hold back in the slightest. So now we're gonna get to the big boy, which I freaking love this book. This book is so cool, and just skimming through it has already gotten me super excited for just kind of looking through it. So we'll just start, and already there's just like the art here is just like the map of Hyrule, but almost like an incomplete, like splotch wet way, where it's like it feels so like real. It feels like such a real, like almost ancient map of this kingdom, and it's just I love that. And you got a Sheikah Eye here, Creating a Champion. open your eyes. I mean, this is just absolutely wonderful already, and it's got a little table of contents here. Even even the loading screen is represented here, which is pretty funny. Then you got like key art. Now this is all like just promotional art that, you know, is pretty accessible on the internet nowadays. But there's even some stuff that I don't see a whole lot of. Like here's different concept art for art that is pretty like infamous at this point. You see this kind of like renders. Different regions have different versions of the box art and for Breath of the Wild, and so it's cool to see just different designs they had. Like this was one idea they had for the box art for Breath of the Wild until and so here's the one that looks like this, and they had just this art style, I love it so much. Yeah, and here's another way they were gonna do the original box art. I just love it. And here's the shot. It's so good. That is one thing I do think that I like. There are some things I prefer about Breath of the Wild. There are some things I prefer about Tears of the Kingdom. But I think the box art for Breath of the Wild is just so like. What do you even say about it? It just captures everything the game is going for. It's superb. And here I think, this is excellent as well. This is an odd final choice, I think, to have Link facing back like that. I don't know. I kind of like this better. This looks more interesting to me, and I think Link facing away is just such a powerful, almost a powerful statement, you know. Yeah, because I think European territories, they have this as the box art, and I am glad I live in North America where the box art is the I love this one. Yeah, this is super cool. See, this is what I'm talking about. I love the concept art, the stuff that we didn't get, because even just seeing glimpses of it and seeing the ideas that they had here is just so cool. Just having Link from the original Legend of Zelda passing off the Master Sword to Breath of the Wild Link as like a sign of passing the torch of like the new future of Zelda, because Breath of the Wild has changed so much for not only the Zelda series as a whole, but gaming in general. And it's just it's so good. Oh my gosh. I love this one too. It's so good. I I love this stuff so much. I've seen like wallpapers for this one all over the place. This one's a little tricky because it's like right down the middle. I've never seen anybody be able to get like the hand cut off right because of just how it is in the book. Because like this is like you got to scan this book in order to get a lot of this art. And unfortunately where Zelda and Link's hands meet, it can be a little hard to join that one picture together. This is another excellent one against Windblight Ganon. The official art it's so good. Look at this. Look at these concepts. Ooh, I really like that one of Zelda like falling back. That one's it's excellent. I do really love this one. I mean, I have it. You've probably seen it in the back of videos. I have a poster of this one. That one's phenomenal as well. Yeah, but I really do. Oh man. It's almost like I wish you could have all versions of it. The people behind this art is just so unbelievably talented. I would just we're like on page 30. I love this so much. And these are like little. I remember seeing this art on on Twitter. It has it right here for Twitter official promotional illustrations. Whereas like this one was for Christmas, and I think this one was for Thanksgiving. I don't know what this one was for. Just like no, not Thanksgiving. I don't know what this was about. This one is obviously Christmas time or the holidays, and it's so good. This one reflecting the original Legend of Zelda art for the original game. A lot of Twilight Princess Link interaction here. Wolf Link from Twilight Princess, which I think is really fascinating. They were super. I guess it was just. I guess it's a way of cross-promoting Twilight Princess HD and Breath of the Wild at the same time, which I think is fun. Which is fun. I love crossover stuff like that. That's what makes a bunch of Nintendo's franchises so fun, is that they can cross over like that. Oh, it's so, it's so good. Oh my gosh. Oh, this one's great as well. Oh, I have no complaints with any of this. Oh, the finalized art. Ooh, that's super cool. I really like these two. You can even see where Link's design, like how much it changed throughout development. Where even like the symbols on the champion's tunic, how much they changed. Even the traveler's bow, and they kind of had the design down for the Shike arrow. They had it pretty much down on the first attempt, but they changed the outfit and tunic, and even Link's like face design quite a lot through development. It seems like Calamity Ganon, another shot of Link. Oh, all this, it's so great. Ooh, these are actually, I haven't seen any of this about this post for Zelda. I always think that, I have thought that this shot of Zelda for this art is a little, I think it has something to do with her face. It has bothered me a little bit. It just looks a little off. I feel like it doesn't perfectly represent what her character looks like actually in game. I don't know what it is. It's something that's slightly off. Tears of the Kingdom's art has not had this problem, and I find that really interesting because all the art I've seen for Tears of the Kingdom's Zelda, specifically this kind of key art, it looks exactly like how she looks in game. In fact, I'd say that this one, it might be even just the angle. This one I think is a better representation of what Zelda looks like in game, whereas this one I think it has to do with her face. It's just slightly off to me personally. And you got the champions here. You got Daruk, Mipha. Interesting. They seem to have they didn't really struggle through, they kind of had just one design down that they wanted, or at least that's what they're showing, and they just kind of went with that from here. Oh, except for Rivali here. He goes through quite a few different poses here, which I think is interesting. Even with Urbosa, they had the pose down, but it was to see whether they wanted to have it front facing or back. And I think back facing key art is, I think that's a really interesting choice, and I think it's more striking that way. Yeah. And you got a Guardian. Ooh, that one's great too. Oh, I don't know which one I would like better. The Guardian shooting towards the viewer or away. Oh, I don't know. That's so good. Oh, okay. And so we got some Master Cycle Zero here, Cass, Bokoblin, Master Cycle Zero. So yeah, this book was made after the second DLC. Well, not made. It was released after the second DLC for Breath of the Wild had released, which is the Champion's Ballad. So this covers the entirety of Breath of the Wild, which is great. Nothing being left out. Got a section on development. Yeah, here we go. Now we're looking at look at these. These are great. Oh, the development side of the different concept art and designs for Link, and I'm assuming the other characters will be a part of this. You got Link here. Yeah, he doesn't have the sword symbol on the champion's tunic yet, and even that's interesting. He's got just a long brown glove, which he clearly doesn't have in the final game. But they did kind of have just the general layout here. Well, but you weren't expecting to see that today. I have to see it. Now you have to see it. Nah, yeah. So they had tons of different ideas here for it, but almost they were clearly thinking about, just because of how monumental Breath of the Wild was to be for the formula. It's clear that they wanted to do something just so different than the typical green-clad lad of the past. But you can see with the Hylian hood here, or what it would eventually become, is that they still wanted to keep that green motif for a bit here until obviously they were really trying to go in different directions here. Yeah, look at this one. This one is very reminiscent of Link from Skyward Sword. He just screams that. Oh, and this one's very Twilight Princess. This one is very like Wind Waker-esque. They were really just kind of looking at everything and kind of mishmashing it all together. This, I don't know if I would want to play this Zelda game or not, because this. Hey, any ideas on the table here? You know. Oh, look at this. This is great. Oh, different kind of art styles. Oh, it's so good. Well, look at that. What is that? I don't know. That's super interesting. They have like Link in the traditional outfit, but in blue. So they really were just like set on the blue color, which is super interesting. And they had like the dog idea kind of straight, like they had the dog idea kind of from the start, which I think is super interesting. And I think later on, after it seems like they didn't originally plan it to be Wolf Link. It was just sort of like a companion pet that you'd have around. And then with Twilight Princess HD, they're like, why don't I just do a Wolf Link? And then you just do a little bit of crossover there. Oh, now we're all going on to Zelda. Oh, look, Zelda's design varies greatly, I think, here. Yeah, even, see, this is what I'm talking about. She doesn't quite look how she does in game here, which I think is super interesting. This, yes, front facing, yes, but it's got to be the angle or something. That's super interesting. Cause like here, I'm gonna pull up the Tears of Kingdom art book for a second here, cause it's quite different. Yeah, it's just different enough where it looks like this looks exactly like how she does in game, and this is probably her actual model. But it is just like her face is slightly different in a way where it's, yeah, this is a better reflection of what she looks like in game, and I think more consistently for the art style. Whereas here, there's still a little bit of things to iron out here, or it's just, I don't know. That's interesting to me. That's like how this is clearly like so similar, yet there's something slightly different that I can't put my finger quite on yet. It could be that this is in a more 2D. I don't know. That's interesting. Boom, jump scare. Concept Sheikah Slate design. That is weird to look at. That is you can clearly see the Wii U gamepad inspiration here. I mean, that, as if that's not already obvious with the game, because a lot of people forget that Breath of the Wild was designed for the Wii U. It just made the jump over. Yeah, it's something. Oh, that's really interesting. Just like they were kind of all over the place with Zelda. They had like so many different ideas on how to portray her, whereas with Link, they kind of had a general idea where they kind of wanted to go. This version of Zelda is very like Skyward Sword like. This one is very almost like traditional. These are all very much like traditional, like original Legend of Zelda, especially this one here. Yeah, they had so many different directions to go in. It's interesting that they landed on the one that they did. I think that's the best design that they picked. But I do think it's interesting considering how much variety there were in the designs here. And then we got Ganon. You know, Ganon's presence in this game is just so vastly different than the rest of the series. He's sort of a not a passive threat, but a threat in the background, where it's like he caused all of this destruction, and he's more of like, his influence is kind of everywhere in this game, and it's felt in a much more subtle way, except for, of course, Hyrule Castle. And he has like this swirling swine like specter here. Oh, then they have Calamity Ganon here, which is, they even have his cocoon like thing. Oh, what is this? Oh, that's so cool. What is that? Incomplete Ganon tentative? What? That's quite a name. I don't know I think just sticking with Calamity Ganon is a better idea, because yes, Calamity Ganon is in fact incomplete. Oh, this is actually different than the version we see in game. That's interesting. See, even with these like versions, they're still not like the exact version you see in game, which is like that's super interesting. And then you got Dark Beast Ganon here, which Dark Beast Ganon gets a lot of flack, but I think as a final challenge that is more akin to, it's more of a celebratory boss of like you've come this far. I think he does a good enough job, and I actually love Dark Beast Ganon's design in this game, where it's just a boar made entirely out of malice. That is super cool. These are interesting. That one's cool, where it's like a skeleton, and that one's very like classic Ganon design, which is that's super cool. Oh, and then you got the blights. Phantom Ganons, interesting. Phantoms created by Ganon 100 years in the past that entered the 4 divine beasts and killed their champion's pilots. They all have fiery red hair and have absorbed ancient weapons. The blights also get a lot of flack for just kind of similar visual variety. I think the blights are a very cool idea that I think they executed well. I think the main problem is that these are the main 4 bosses in the game. Everything else is kind of optional, and I think there does need to be more variety, because I think mechanically these boss fights are very different, but I think the visual similarity is kind of the problem, because then you fight these guys. You fight each one of these guys 4 times, and then you go over and you fight this guy, and then you kind of get like, there's a lot of sameness that goes on here. Even though there is like such variety in weaponry, in like more intricate design, and like I clearly understand with what they were going with here, but I do think that it is fair to say that boss visual variety was kind of needed, and I think Tears of the Kingdom really solved that problem. Ooh, now we got champions, and when covering the champions, you kind of cover the different races. Is this supposed to be a Kokiri? What? Why does he have a whip? That's cool though, that they wanted each one of them to have like a different kind of weapon across each race. That is very funny though. Oh, I'm assuming this is a Sheikah. Sheikah, we're gonna have hook shot. Interesting. Goron, I don't like the look of that Goron. Rito, that is very much like that is very Wind Waker-esque. Rito, right there. Oh, we got Mipha here. That's a really cool concept art right there. That's super cool to see. Oh, naked Mipha. All right, moving on. Daruk. See some of this art. That's not really how he look. This is more true to life to what he looks like in game. This is slightly off. Even the is it the Boulder Breaker? Trust me, I love these games. I know everything about them. I believe that's the Boulder Breaker. That design, that is not what it looks like in the final game here. Oh, even the Champion's Garb, it's different in the final game. So this is mostly concept art, which is again very different than Tears of the Kingdoms, where it's basically all stuff that made it into the final game, like exactly how it's shown off here, because like, oh, look at the designs for Daruk here. These are it's interesting to see where they went. Very interesting. You got Rivali here. He's my favorite of the champions, even though he's a complete dick. Oh, that's such a good one. Oh man, I must like that one more. What the heck? Oh, and that's so cool. His bow's like a violin. What? Yeah, well, speaking of bows, that's not the bow he wields in the game. These are clearly like... This one, so far... Rivali's and Mifa's are like pretty close, almost exact to how they look in the game. But the weapons are still like... They're still going through some critiques here. We got Naked Rivali. Alright. Moving on. Urbosa. Yeah, Urbosa's looking pretty much... except the garb here. It is different. Ooh, even... Oh, this concept for Urbosa. That's interesting. That is a far more like Noburu from Ocarina of Time's like design. That's super interesting. But this is far closer to like what she actually looks like in game. They're close, but there's like small little things that just aren't exactly the same yet. And we got Hylians, got King Rome here. Very cool. Old man design. Then you got his kingly design. Very, very cool. You got Beetle. Got Kilton. Whoa. Whoa. That's an interesting one. Oh, that's super cool. We got Bolson, who went through quite different designs until he ended up being this way. You got Hudson. Yeah. Well, Carson, nope. Yeah, that's what Carson looks like now. He does not look that way. Yep. Well, then you got the Highlands. Oh, that's very cool. They have very, very generic faces in this concept art here, and I mean, if you didn't know, they use a sort of a not a random generator, but essentially a meme maker like generator to create the Hylians for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, because there's just so many of them, and so they just kind of did like a thing where they'd implement a certain kind of face, and then it would just kind of automatically show up onto the Hylian's face. And I think this is kind of where they were more of not really focusing on the faces exactly, because I think they had that idea already out there, but more of the body shapes and clothing and stuff like that for culture purposes. You got the Sheikah here. Oh man, they went through quite a lot of designs. Look at that. There is not a whole lot of similarity between these versions of between these concepts. The only thing I can really say is that they clearly wanted to go in a very traditional Japanese direction with the Sheikah, which is great. I think they struck a perfect ground with that. Yeah, see, even here with the Sheikah, they're doing more of that like these generic faces, but they're really focusing on the body designs and stuff like that, which is very cool. And you got Impa, then you got Paya. Very cool, very cool, very cool. Then you got Pura, who went through quite a few different design changes here. Especially Robbie over here. It says they wanted to make him more they were leaning a little too Western like, and so they wanted to make sure he was still feeling very traditional Japanese, which is good. I really like the design that they landed on here. Then you got the Yiga clan and the monks. Ooh, these are some cool monk designs. These are very cool. You got the Yiga clan, who seem to have had like a general idea on what they wanted with the Yiga clan. This is pretty straightforward here. You got the Zora. Ooh, you got quite some variation. These are more akin to the original Legend of Zelda. And I'm assuming this is more Ocarina of Time-like, where they're kind of a little more, I guess, archaic compared to far more, pristine, like in Breath of the Wild. Far more I guess they're far more elegant in Breath of the Wild. Yep. Children, female designs. These are all pretty much... Ooh, actually, you got quite some different variety of body types here, which, for the most part, they could just kind of... For the NPCs, they just kind of stuck with kind of very, very subtle, like, standardized fish designs for other Zora. And then more important characters have different kind of fish motifs, like a stingray or what have you, or like Sidon, who this is really cool. Sidon being more based on a shark, or in this case a sturgeon, and they clearly went with the hammerhead idea here, but then had it more generalized for like just sharks in general. This white design for Sidon, I don't know. I might have liked this one better. Might have liked this one better than the red one that they went with. But I guess that's to just fit in with Mipha more. Talk about the little whistle that he has, which I think is... I don't even think he uses that in-game at all. In fact, he has it, but I don't think he uses it at all. What? These are incredibly goofy for King Dorephan. What? I mean, King Dorephan is quite goofy in structure. Anyways, he's just huge. But this one this one tickles me. I like that one. That was incredibly goofy. And I like that about The Legend of Zelda. They are no strangers to being absolutely ridiculous and just very goofy. I got some Gorons here. Yep. Showing some height difference between Link and the Gorons. I love looking at these. Yunobo's got like a head full of hair. I guess it's more Daruk-like than what Yunobo ended up getting, but it still feels like he's the descendant, which is good. But he's so sad. You get to Rito. I think the Rito I think the Rito got the best redesign of any of the previous creatures from the Zelda series, because the Rito in the Wind Waker are just people with a beak on their head, on their faces, and that is kind of it. And for bird people, that's kind of odd. And I think this is far more in line with actual bird people, where it's very humanoid but yet more bird-like than humanoid at the same time. Whereas the original Rito design from Wind Waker was far more human design than Rito. Yeah, these are some excellent designs with the feathers and different kinds of birds that they wanted to go through here, with like most of them being hawks, and then you have the Canelli, who's the elder, who's more based on an owl. Then you got Breath of the Wild Tool in here, who had a dramatic redesign for Tears of the Kingdom, which I think is excellent, because he looks a little derpy in this game. I'm not gonna lie, he looks a little goofy, which is good though. It's a fun thing to kind of see where he's come from and where he goes. And then you got Naked Teba, and then you have Teba's design is great. I find it. I'm a little upset that he was the least popular out of all of the Champion's descendants, because I actually really liked Teba a lot. But as far as how interesting he is, I can understand why he wasn't that interesting. His personality wasn't. His personality isn't his strongest suit. We'll just leave it at that. And then we have my beloved Cass. Oh, I'm very happy they went with the design that they did, because I don't know about that one. Nah, not for me. But just having Cass designed after a parrot is just... it's so perfect. And musician, Cass was honestly one of my favorite parts of Breath of the Wild. And I was at first very disappointed that he wasn't in Tears of the Kingdom, but it's one of those things where him being only in Breath of the Wild is kind of it's a reason it's a good thing, because it doesn't make Tears of the Kingdom again just replace Breath of the Wild. It's one of those things where if you want to see more of Cass, he's in Breath of the Wild. You can go hang out with him in Breath of the Wild. He's not in Tears of the Kingdom, even though he is mentioned, and he doesn't just like, it's not like the Sheikah technology where it just disappears without any explanation, and it's like, what's happening? It's more of he's still around. He's just not he's not around during the events of Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm okay with that. He was a very integral part to Breath of the Wild, and I'm okay with him just kind of staying there. Cass is a bard who wanders Hyrule in search of ancient hero songs. He was the student of the Sheikah court poet in service to the royal family a century ago, and the keeper of the song of the two brave souls who battled the calamity 10,000 years ago. He vowed that he would share his teacher's song with the chosen hero, so he left Rito Village, his home, and travels the world, aiding Link with poetry from the past. He is a father of 5 daughters. Yep, he's my boy. He's awesome. The Gerudo. Gerudo also had to go through, well, not a dramatic design, but they definitely changed them enough, just like having them with increased height, very muscular and interestingly shaped builds. That's very cool. Just the direction and the variety they have of races here. Oh, here we go. Here's another example of this where like the art where it's like almost finalized, but Riju doesn't have that big of a nose actually in game. It's different. Like it is not that protruding, because I guess she's on the younger side, so her nose hasn't become that prominent yet compared to other Gerudo. And you got different classes, different jobs, all that. Super fun. Then you have the Spirits of the Land here, which oh man, I can't wait. I'm just constantly jump scared by super interesting designs. It's just incredibly interesting and goofy designs. I love that. Then you got the Great Fairies, which there you go. There's the bottom of the Great Fairy if you ever want to know. Yep. Koroks. Huh. That's an interesting design. The Korok's final designs were nearly identical to their appearance in the Wind Waker, but an original design was proposed for this title. These early and ultimately rejected designs show the Koroks covered in different kinds of leaves. Yeah, I think these are very cool designs, but I do think with the cel-shaded art style, it was good for them to just kind of stick with the Wind Waker-esque designs here. And then we got the monsters here. Oh yes, the bokoblins. Actually, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. This is, I'm pretty sure this exact pose of a bokoblin is in this art book as well. Hold on a second. I've seen that render enough times. Where is it? There it is. That's the exact same one. Oh, he doesn't even have the horn yet that he would get in the actual game. Okay, so this was them clearly. All right, I'm wrong then. They did have concept art in the art book, not finalized art. Clearly different. I'm wrong. But yeah, this is the exact same render, except they were like, what did he look like with a backpack on? Oh, that's what he looks like with a backpack on. Cool. Anyways, this is fun going through like differences between Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. Oh, that's a very blue bokoblin. He goes quite a darker shade in the finalized version of the game. Moblins. Ooh, that's a great render, or I guess just art design for the Lizalfos, or not Lizalfos, for the Moblins. I'm looking at the Lizalfos right down here, Those office look great as well. The whiz robes. Ugh. I don't like that. Nope. I'd rather have your head sunk into your body like that. Much rather have it that way. Oh, these are great as well. Oh, so good. You got some choo-choos, Octoroks, Keys. Pretty straightforward. You got choo-choo with lips. I don't like that one. Got a that's just a Keys with a big mouth, I guess. And then Octoroks. Ooh, tons of fun, different variety. One with a duck, I guess. I guess that was their idea for like if it was in the water, which is fun. Man, I wish there was like rare ones like that or something. That's cool. Lionel's got a significant redesign since their last appearance, and in fact, that's what I love about both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild is them bringing back like Zelda enemies from the first Legend of Zelda game and kind of just like redesigning them in a way where it's like they feel so much more like ferocious and big enemies. I think Aonuma even talks about in an interview about how they designed the Guardian Stalker, which we'll probably get to in the book here, but they designed it after kind of like how big he originally thought Octoroks were in the original Legend of Zelda game, because because the sprites were like the exact same size as Link, so you would figure they were big, whereas they're quite small, honestly. I've got some, and the Lionels as well. I mean, Lionels are now infamous because of this game and how challenging they are to beat. Even though once you fight them enough times, they're not nearly as difficult to defeat, and they're just fun enemies to fight. They're very almost Dark Souls like in their enemy attack patterns and behavior. Got Stone Talus, got Hinox, got he's got random garbage on his neck right there. Incredibly goofy design here, picking up the trees. Got a Molduga here. He's a big boy. All right. This is fun. I really like this. You got that's a really cool one there. I like that one a lot. The different Molduga design, very fish-like. As if this isn't like fish-like enough, but this is like that's very cool. I like that one as well. Got creatures, which are different than monsters. You got the Satori, the Lord of the Mountain, and the Bloopies, and then you got fairies, which pretty much similar, pretty much the same design as have had throughout the entire series, where they're just kind of a ball of light with wings. But the Satori are like they have like a perfect balance of kind of like eerie and mystical at the same time. They're very cool designs. Oh, and then you got the dragons. See, this is what I'm talking about. You got like different dragon designs here. Oh, that would be so cool to see like the light dragon design and the demon dragon designs from Tears of the Kingdom. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is cool. I like this. Seeing their like different horn designs and like different like faces that they had with them. Very traditional Japanese style dragons. Very cool. Got their 3 pairs of legs and all that. Oh, look at this. Oh, it's excellent. Even Malice Nadra, they covered that one in here. And I got the horses. Oh, that's great art of Link and just a random horse. Not Epona, but... And then you got the ancient armor for the horse from Champion's Ballad here. Very great. Oh, and you got the Honeywore Bear. You got all like the standard woodland creatures, which like make Hyrule feel just so alive. And even though like there were like very few areas in Breath of the Wild where you'd actually see a bear, they added more, and I think Tears of the Kingdom, they just made them more abundant, because I only saw like 3 bears in that game, and I've played that game for like 400 hours, so that's, I wouldn't be surprised if someone missed, like they didn't even know bears were in the game. And you got like the different birds. You got pigeons, herons, ducks, seagulls, lizards, bees. Oh, you can actually see the bee there. Huh. You can't even really see the bee in game. Bladed Rhino, Get the beetles here. You can like ride different creatures, not just horses. Very cool, very cool. Weapons and shields, and now got the regular Master Sword. Then you got a damaged Master Sword, and then would eventually be broken completely in Tears of the Kingdom, then rebuilt. Then you got like the different royal gear, royal guards gear, knights gear, soldiers gear. Oh, that's not the final design that they kept. They changed that one. Even these are slightly different. Or I don't know. They're slightly different. Oh, boomerang. They didn't have it that way. Traveler's bow. Yep. Nope, it doesn't look like that in the final game. Very cool, very cool. Oh, you got like the Shika weapons here, which are a lot more like a lot more traditional Japanese and very like assassin-like, which is very cool. Especially like the Yigo ones over here. Then you got the different Goron gear. So yeah, here the Boulder Breaker is totally different design than we saw Daruk holding earlier. We got like different like satchels on how they hold it, different classes. Oh, this is so great. This book just covers everything, and I love that about it. Just covers everything. You got all this right here. Oh my gosh! It just keeps going. It just keeps going. You have like all the Bakalan weapons and such, and you got the Lizalfos weapons, and you got the Shika weapons, you got the Lionel weapons. Oh, it's so good. You got the Bow of Light. It's so cool. Oh, that Ancient Spear doesn't look like that at all. Yeah. Then you got some legacy weapons here. You got the Big Goron sword. You got the Fierce Deity sword. You got the Goddess sword from Skyward Sword. You got the original Legend of Zelda sword. You got the Wind Waker shield. You got the Sword of the Six Sages from Twilight Princess. You got the Sea Breeze boomerang. Oh, that's so fun. Just the legacy weapons are super cool. I'm so glad that they did something fun like that. And then you got, oh, that's cool, man. I kind of wish they kept that. Having a damaged look. If that would have been so cool. Look at Lick's hair there. Doesn't happen in game. Ah, man, that's really cool. I would have loved that. Like little scratches and stuff like that. That's super cool. Champion's Tunic. The garment can only be worn by one who has earned the respect of the royal family and will defend Hyrule against Calamity Ganon. Link was wearing this outfit on the day of the Great Calamity when he was gravely injured fighting the Guardians. He retrieves it from Impa in Kakariko Village when he awakens from the slumber of restoration. When we first started, I was under orders to provide players with a variety of outfits they could equip based on their preference rather than just relying on the most powerful equipment. So I created designs for outfit sets that could be mixed and matched without the whole design falling apart while maintaining a clear silhouette that was recognizable at a glance. I think it added to the adventure that players were free to decide whether they would wear a full matching outfit, pick or choose based on stats, or simply wear the combination they thought looked best. Interesting. We also included the dyeing mechanic so that players could incorporate their own unique styles into the game. The stripped down version of Link didn't appear until after the production started, when it made its way into the game. The stripped down version of Link. What? Stripped down version? What? Well, when it made its way to the game, the development team got really excited. Ultimately, it meant that the player starts the game with nothing equipped, but now that I think about it, maybe that was inevitable. The Gerudo top, page 182, was challenging because I had to create a garment that would deceive the Gerudo guards but also fit Link. I was surprised to find that when we created the outfit, it didn't feel out of place at all, but Reggie still sees right through you. Cool. That's really cool. I like the tatter design. That would have been really cool to have like visual damage on Link when you get hurt. I really like that. Got unequipped Linky in his underwear, well-worn outfit. These old clothes were left in the Shrine of Resurrection for Link by those who placed him there a century ago. They have become a bit tattered after so much time. Then you got like I mentioned before, the old Sheikah Slate design, but even here they kind of have like the general idea of what they wanted. Stealth set, Flamebreaker set, Zora set, Snowquill set, Hylian hood. You got the Hylian, just classic Hylian outfit here, which is great. I love how they took the Champion's tunic from Breath of the Wild and then leaned more into typical Hylian tunic design for Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, you gotta. Oh, that would have been so cool, man. Oh, now I'm upset. Oh, like traditional Sheikah outfit. That would have been super cool, man. Got the Gerudo set, got the climbing set, Desert Vo set, One Double. Soldier set, Barbarian set, Rubber Armor, Radiant set, Ancient set. Ooh, look at that! Look at that Ancient set. That's very, very samurai-like. Oh, that's... Oh. Here are the Wild set. Yep, so, like, classic Link design, but more akin to The Legend of Zelda as a whole. You got Bakala mask, Mala mask. Interesting, they had an orange design for the Mala mask. That's interesting. Because it's not orange in the final game. Majora's Mask. See, they wanted to include legacy items pretty early on development, just to celebrate the series, you know. Ravio's hood, Royal Guard outfit. That's a great outfit. Phantom Ganon set. Yep, and then they changed the hairstyles depending on which version of Link you are. That's great. That's super cool. Huh. That's interesting. Chic. You got the Divine Beast helms here. Very cool, very cool. Got the different circlets and earrings. And ooh, look at that paraglider design. That's very cool. Very cool. Now, I hope they use that in a future game. I love the paraglider from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. But oh, they even had this. They even had this streamer idea that they didn't put in Breath of the Wild, but they did put in Tears of the Kingdom. Very, very interesting. You got parts and ingredients, all this garbage. Oh my gosh, that's so much detail. What the heck is that? Master Boar, a boar version of Deku Nuts? ? The effect would overlap when eaten, so it needs its own twist. But I wanted to have many different types of boars in different areas. Animal meat restores life. Animal meat white restores life and gives heat resistance. And then black animal meat restores life and gives cold resistance. And then gourmet restores life and makes player invincible for a limited time. Ooh, so different ideas here. We had like pot lids on. What the heck? They had so many ideas, so much creativity, so many ideas. Oh, it's so good. Communicate with mechanics. Then you got Sheikah relics. Now we're talking. Now we're cooking with the Guardians. Here we are. Guardian Stalker. I just love the Guardian Stalker design. I love the Guardian designs. It's one of those things that I do prefer about Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom is the Guardian. Is just the Guardians in general, because they're not in Tears of the Kingdom, and I think the Zonai are fine. The Zonai constructs are fine, but I think the variety in Guardian designs is better than the typical Zonai constructs, which are just kind of soldier constructs, and that's really excluding the Flux constructs, which I think are very, very cool enemies to fight, and they're great. But I do really just love the overall design of Guardians. They've become just iconic video game enemies at this point, and like such variety in the design. Look at these Guardian designs. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's terrifying. Oh my gosh, look how tiny Link is. That's so scary. At the same time, I'm like, man, that would have been so cool. But at the same time, that's horrible. I'm so glad they didn't do that. Then you got, even that. They would use a similar, like, standard mech design for I guess, Minoru's construct in Tears of the Kingdom. And you got, like, these very much a spider design. You got the turrets. You got the Sky Watchers. Got the Divine Beasts. Oh my gosh, they're like walking cities. That's so cool. Oh my goodness. I wish it was seamless to enter them. That is a thing that I I don't like about the divine beasts in Breath of the Wild is how they are like you just kind of have to load into them, and then once you have completed the divine beast, you cannot go back in. Whereas with the dungeons, the Tears of the Kingdom, even though there's nothing to do in them after you complete them in the story, it is just fun to go back into those buildings and areas seamlessly. Even though there's nothing like to do left in them, they're just locations at that point, which I like a lot. It's a bummer that like the divine beasts just kind of don't do anything and are stationary for a bit, because like this walking city design is idea or just is so cool. I love that. Oh, and then you got all the details and stuff like that. The intricate dungeon design here, because the divine beasts do get a lot of flack for very like same visual style. And I think that criticism is granted, but at the same time, I think the idea here is absolutely superb. Yeah, I definitely think that the criticism towards the Divine Beast of samey visual style is very fair, especially considering, I'm sure it's gonna touch on this in a second, the shrines, where it's like the whole game is very much Sheikah technology, and it's everywhere. Like you're either in a shrine or you're like in a divine beast or something, and actually that's very cool. That's a very Skyward Sword-ish. In fact, this feels like just a leftover Skyward Sword like dungeon area where they were testing out ideas and mechanics and stuff like that. Because this is not Divine Beast. Like this is much more traditional dungeon like. You got Central Hyrule, then you got like the different regions, all like the details here, Shrine of Resurrection, all that. You got the Temple of Time, the Old Man's Hut, all this, just land structure and design, ancient ruins and relics. Look at that, that's so cool. The pedestal for the Master Sword. You got the you got the different races representing by different stones, and it's like decayed away. Oh, it's so good. And then you got Great Deku Tree, designed for the Great Hyrule Forest or Korok Forest. Hyrule Castle before the Calamity. Very cool, very cool. Like, oh, look at that. Oh, that's great. Oh, that's so cool. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity does give you a little bit of an opportunity to see Hyrule before it was this way, but it's not the same as, say, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom's free, open structure of just being able to wander around and do stuff and interact freely, which is kind of a bummer, because I would just love to walk around this like Hyrule Castle Town in this way without it being like destroyed. But I guess it's one of those things where you always wish what you can't have. you always want something that you can't have, that's very cool for the pillar designs here, where they I almost like that more. But at the same time, that's I don't know, there's so many just excellent designs. You got Hyrule Castle perfectly restored here before the Calamity. You got like the dungeons, or like the prison of the castle. You got all this. Oh, it's great. You got the caverns here, which aren't really even in the game. Those aren't really until Tears of the Kingdom. You got like the inside. Oh, Hyrule Castle is it's my favorite part. It's like my favorite area of Breath of the Wild. I have explored there so many times, and it's just the environments, and oh, look at that. That's oh, it's so good. Look at that. Oh, look at that. That's really cool there. Oh man. Just seeing it like restored. I mean, there's a few tears here and there, but it's not like covered in malice like it is in game. It's just seeing it within that context is just super cool. Just seeing a not destroyed Hyrule Castle, being able to explore it is just very cool. That was one of the Astral Observatory is like what it looks like when Calamity Ganon's not there. It's like just full of Guardian technology and Sheikah technology, and it's just glowing blue, and that's very cool. When it's not red because of good old Ganon. Got the designs of the towns and the Sheikah, and they clearly had a frog motif going on here, which I think is very, very cool. And you got more stuff here that they were planning to do here. You got Fort Hateno, Dueling Peaks. That's an interesting idea. I do kind of like what they ended up with more than this, because this is cool. But I think the mountain idea is makes more sense. Hateno Village here, very. I love Hateno. Hateno's like it's very homey. There's Link. Oh no, that's not Link's house. No. That's that. No, okay. So that's just like the general design that they have here for the Hateno, and just traditional Hylian homes here. Got Pura's Tech Lab. There you go. There's some inside stuff about it. You got Lanayru. You got Zora's Domain. They originally wanted to go. Looks like they originally wanted to go with a cavern design here, which is a lot more reminiscent of Ocarina of Time. Oh my gosh, this is like straight out of Lord of the Rings. That's crazy. Man, they had so many ideas. It's just... that's superb. Look at that. That's so great. I think they really landed on good stuff for the towns and villages, where they're like big enough, but also don't feel overwhelmingly big. You got like old ruins and stuff like that. Just so much character and personality here. You got the a guardian mobile type welcomes you at the door with a smile. Its head spins. I'm assuming this is supposed to be Robbie's lab. Yeah, call it Ancient Tech Lab. Very cool. Got Terrytown here. Very unique motif here. Got Eldin. Just kind of skimming through here. And you got Hebra. All different designs for the Rito Village. I really like that one. That one's cool with the windmill. Because Rito Village is pretty tame in game. It's not very showy, I would say. Yeah, Forgotten Temple. Oh, this is so cool. Oh, there's so much potential with this franchise and stuff like that. Like, all of these ideas can be reused and like pushed further in future games. Got the Yiga clan hideout, like the Farron region. You got Lurelin Village with its water motif here. You got just notable locations. You got the Great Fairy Fountain. You got the Fang and Bone, Colton or Kilton. Colton's his brother. Got the Lomai Labyrinths, which are like connected to the Zone Eye and all that. And then you got the Leviathan Bones, which are based off of old whale-like creatures from previous Zelda games. Then you got Champions Ballad stuff. You got Zelda's winter clothes here. You got the champions before they got their champion outfits and garments. See, like, here we go. This is what I'm talking about. These designs look more like what they do in game here. Yep. You got the Master Cycle Zero, which that's very cool. Went through a wolf link design here, or not wolf link design, but a wolf design for it. I thought about just like placing it down. It teleports. That's very cool. Or like that's pretty wacky there. That's like almost like a Star Wars Walker kind of thing. Got a little side-on. You got attendant. You got the one-hit obliterator. You got history, and you got like timeline shenanigans. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Lore galore. Oh my goodness. I'm not reading all of this because I'm not wasting your guys' time. You didn't come here for that. You just came here to look at some cool art and to hear me ramble for over an hour. Oh my gosh. Oh, the details. Oh, see, this is what the Zelda series needs. See, this is the fodder for all the Zelda fans. Oh my gosh. And then you got interviews with the developers. Now this is awesome. This is that's that's such a cool book. I love this thing. This thing's so cool. But I think that's a good place to end there. I really hope they do something like this for Tears of the Kingdom. But Breath of the Wild was such a landmark title that I don't really see it happening, and I think that this is and Breath of the Wild. Tears of the Kingdom is a sequel to Breath of the Wild, so I can see them just kind of being like, all the information you need is in here, and then you just kind of continue in from there, because this kind of started everything. But I really hope that they keep the level of just world building and depth for future open world Zelda games, because the future is bright for the Zelda series, and I'm very excited to see what comes next. And yeah, thank you for listening to me talk about a fictional world of fictional characters for over an hour. And if you didn't like what I was talking about and you want your money back, well, get the fuck out of here.